How's it going, everyone? I'm feature meteorologist Stephen Foray back here with another episode of your weather news podcast with Foray Predicts, and we have a lot to talk about this week. Starting off, last Friday, did you notice that fog during your commute? That's right, as the National Weather Service describes, patchy dense fog was around on Long Island. It must have been pretty foggy out there. Then, Saturday and Sunday, we had some pretty strong storms come through the island. Check out the radar image there showing the heavy rainfall there. Along with these storms came some pretty heavy wind gusts, but luckily they didn't turn severe. Let's see what the National Weather Service had to say about it on their X page. Mostly a half an inch to an inch and about a quarter of rain fell throughout the island, and as you went a little bit further upstate, they saw anywhere from like 2 to 3 inches of rain, which is where the big flooding concern was. The National Weather Service describes it here with their key messages. Bands of heavy downpours and thunderstorms happened Saturday morning and Friday evening. Isolated, scattered instances of flooding happened. Now, this was through New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, and of course we saw it here on the island. 1 to 3 inches of rain fell, and that rain was coming down pretty heavy, as you guys can see there. What a crazy storm that came through last weekend, but luckily nothing was truly severe from it. With some brighter news, as the National Weather Service in New York describes, there was a geometric storm watch on June 1st, and basically what that means is you had the possibility to see the northern lights if you went to the north shore of the island and looked up, but the best viewing was by the Great Lakes, up in Buffalo and places like that, as you could see on the map there. So I hope you got to see those beautiful views. I didn't get to see them this time, but I definitely got some nice pictures last time. And on a little more darker note, the Canadian wildfire smoke returned to the island this week. If you haven't noticed those hazy skies, check out this hazy morning sunrise caused by the smoke from the Canadian wildfires moving into our area. Throughout the week, the skies were pretty much filled with haze. However, luckily this time, it did not affect our air quality and was certainly not as bad as it was a few years ago, if you remember that. Now this weekend, you can expect a little bit of relief, but you might still see some hazy skies from the wildfires. Moving on to severe weather now, another really active week weather-wise. Check out this enhanced risk in Texas, and outlined by that is the slight risk for most of Texas and the marginal risk for lots of the United States. This is last Friday from the Storm Prediction Center. This just shows pretty much what was to come for this week. Also on Friday here, a pretty large spread of the enhanced risk down 95 south, those southern coastal areas all affected. North Carolina, South Carolina, a little bit of Georgia. As usual, the National Weather Service issued their key messages talking about this storm. As an overview, strong to severe thunderstorms developed in the afternoon in the mid-Atlantic states to the southeast. They saw severe wind gusts as well as some pretty heavy rain. On Monday, another pretty wide stretch of severe weather, the enhanced there in northern Texas and its surrounding states. The key messages from the National Weather Service talked about the line of thunderstorms that developed in the Oklahoma, Texas panhandles and southwest Kansas. These thunderstorms brought with them the possibility for tornadoes, heavy rain, and some heavy wind gusts. And today, in similar areas, 2 patches of the enhanced risk, as well as another large spread of severe weather. With this came some damaging tornadoes. The National Weather Service issued, again, their key messages for the weather. Scattered severe thunderstorms happened today across eastern New Mexico and western Texas, and confidence in a corridor of higher tornado potential, which we saw today, as well as heavy rain and heavy wind gusts and heavy hail. I hope everyone affected by these storms is doing okay. And the last thing I want to talk about for this week brings us into hurricane season. That's right, this week, first week of June, was the first week of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. And along with that came some tropical activity. You could see there in the Atlantic Ocean, close to the same spots that we just talked about, down I-95 south, those southern coastal areas, was the possibility for depression or something like that to develop. A very low possibility, 10%, and now they're saying it's most likely not going to develop into anything. As the National Hurricane Center describes, non-tropical low is expected to form today inland near the Carolinas, but luckily nothing much is going to come of that besides some heavy rain for those places, but luckily it won't turn into anything stronger than that. Well, there you have it, everyone. Definitely a lot to talk about it this week. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Weather News, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for watching.